I was a news reporter working for Channel O in Melbourne, Australia, and in 1978 in December I was on holidays back in my homeland, New Zealand.
Reporter Quentin Fogarty may not have been the only visitor flying into town that day.
Two flight crews from a company called Safe Air had sighted bright lights in the sky. I had a phone call from my office back in Melbourne to say that they were keen for me to follow up a strong UFO sighting 2 or 3 days earlier.
Doesn't something always come up when you're on vacation?
When we took off from Wellington, the flight crew pointed out towards the right of the aircraft the lights of a town called Kaikoura in the distance. And then sort of above the town, we could see a row of lights would start as a little pinprick and then turn into a great globe of light, and then it would just shrink down again to nothing. I'd never seen anything like it before. In terms of my feelings, initially I was very excited, but I don't think at any stage I ever really felt that I was in, incredible danger, although at times I did feel a little scared. David, the cameraman, was having great difficulty filming these lights, so we got very little footage. When we landed, the captain offered us the opportunity to go back on the return flight. The sound recorder, she got off. She was so scared she wouldn't go back on the plane. I had mixed feelings about getting back on board the plane because it was out of my comfort zone at times. But then I also knew David had great difficulty getting good footage. And I thought, well, if they were there on the way down, they might be there on the way back. So I agreed to go back. We took off from Christchurch. The flight crew pointed out a bright light. In fact, I saw 2 bright lights off to the right-hand side of the aircraft, out to sea. This light seemed to pace the aircraft. The flight crew are quite convinced also that the light was airborne and was moving and manoeuvred as well as moving. We continued to see the same sort of bright lights that started as little pinpricks and turned into great globes of light all the way back to the aircraft's home base of Blenheim. When we landed, I thought, I've got a world scoop here. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a big story.
As with any alien sighting, a common-sense explanation was soon offered up. Some said that the lights absolutely involved little slimy creatures, only not the green kind, but the pink ones instead.
It was proposed that a solitary squid boat had been there fishing off the coast of New Zealand, and this could explain this extremely bright light.
The way that they fish for the squid is each boat has these enormously brilliant lights, up to 360,000 watts worth of incandescent lights. And the bright lights bring the squid up from the ocean up to the very surface. It's difficult to know exactly what they saw and they filmed. It may well have been just a single squid fishing boat that was in close near the harbor there.
But investigator Bruce Maccabee finds the squid defense a little slippery.
The co-pilot's testimony clearly shows that it couldn't have been a squid boat. It was moving rapidly. But of course, a squid boat is fastened in one position. It can't move very fast at all.
And don't forget, Fogarty says the lights were darting around up in the air, not down at sea level. The skeptics have an answer for that one, too.
How do you mistake a light on the surface with something moving toward you and away from you and maneuvering with you? And the answer is, it happens. People, especially in aircraft, as the aircraft maneuvers and turns, will see a light moving on the horizon, not realize that it's him who's turning and not the light.
So just what were those mysterious lights? Extraterrestrials or the next day's appetizer? That question remains unanswered, and it is still eating away at Quentin Fogarty.
30 years later, I still would love to know what we saw. And I'm hoping that one day, before I pass off the mortal coil, that somebody can establish whether it was animal, mineral, vegetable. Who knows? That would be nice.